Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I know I'm the last talk before drinks, so I'll try to go pretty fast. But this is basically the story of Branch and how we basically took a consumer app that was failing and turned it into a SaaS business. And I'll go through 5 lessons, and hopefully you will find them useful. And some of the things that we tried and that worked, we grew pretty fast, and I think we did things pretty untraditionally. So hopefully you can take some of our lessons and apply them to your own business. So a little bit about me. I'm from Romania. I started this app called Kindred with the same co-founders. So I think not dissimilar to the Slack story. We actually were working together for 2 years before starting Branch on various ideas, the biggest of which was an app called Kindred that we sold in 2014 when we started Branch. Today, Branch, we're 100 people. We do about 4 billion requests a day. We have 20,000 apps using us. And in addition to Branch, and this is one of the lessons, we actually built this mobile growth community that helped us build the community around Branch. And that has 20,000 users and is in 50 cities around the world. And to date, we raised more than 50 million in funding. And these are some of our customers. So you might not know our Branch is, but you probably have our technology on your phone. And probably in more than one app. And we are the linking infrastructure. So when you click on a link from Airbnb that says open an app, we are the link. Or when someone now sends you a link to something in Yelp, we're the link that takes you inside the app to that restaurant. So the first lesson that I learned that I think many entrepreneurs fail to learn is you can be attached to an idea, either a company or a product. And this was the hardest lesson for me personally to learn. And this is something that I learned from Alex, our CEO. And he has this ability to kind of look at something and put no emotion in it and say, no, this is not working. No emotional attachment. And it's a really important lesson because I see so many companies or entrepreneurs fall in love with the product that they design and just keep going with it. And the problem with that is if it's not working, but you think it's working, you can see all the false positive signals and keep going. So I'll tell you the story of Kindred. This was the logo I designed for our app, photo books. So we had this idea one day, and we said, you know, our parents and grandparents don't use photos the same way we do. We take photos on our phone, but they like printed things. So why don't we build an app that makes it easier for someone to build a photo book and send it to their parents or grandparents, wherever they are. And we thought we were going to be a rocket ship, because obviously everyone building an app today is going to be a rocket ship, right? Apps are the new thing. So this was kind of the app. We designed it for both Android and iOS, and we spent 3 months over summer in business school building it. And after 4 months of development, we launched, and we're in the App Store. It's great. And then we had 10 installs, and it was really sad. Like, wow, only 10 installs. This is pretty bad. But then we were featured. We were featured in both Android on Best Apps of 2013 and on the App Store in Best New Apps. And suddenly there were like requests all the time. And now we had from 10 installs, next day we had 5,000 installs. And we thought, oh my God, we are the rocket ship. This is going to be it. We're going to be rich. And we hit product market fit. I mean, people are installing our app, right? And well, after the feature ended, the rocket ship was not a rocket ship anymore because, you know, when you're featured, people go and look at, but the feature doesn't last forever. It lasted a week. So then we're like, what can we do? What can we do? Let's come up with ideas. So we raised $50,000 and we spent it all on Facebook install ads that at the time were pretty cheap. And then we were a rocket ship again. We're like, wow, we found our market, and it was moms with newborns between 0 and 3 and teenagers in long-distance relationships. So we were running these experiments on Facebook. I was running about 100 different ad campaigns at a time. I was cutting the ones that weren't working, and we were like, we can build this. We can scale this. Unfortunately, there's not that many moms who would buy a photo book, or there are not that many teenagers in long-distance relationships. So actually, those audiences in Facebook saturate, so it becomes more and more expensive to acquire users and scale. So we looked at the ROI, and as costs went up, The ROI, people were not buying more than one photo book. We were making only $1 for photo book. So the ROI was negative. So we stopped spending money. Well, we spent all our money that we raised, and then we had no more money to spend. And things were just going down, and we were no longer a rocket ship. And we kept going lower and lower, reaching the 200s. And then eventually we decided that this wasn't working, and we ended up selling it to a printing provider in Seattle that used it almost as a test app. The app is still there, you can find it. They haven't changed it, still has my picture in it, holding a photo book. But they haven't really updated it, and I think they're getting very few installs. So our choices were really limited here, and it was very hard and very emotional to come up to the conclusion that this is not working. We put so much effort. Building that brand, we had customers. We sold 15,000 photo books. So we had customers that would send us notes saying how much they love our product. So when you're in a position like that, it's very hard to say, no, there isn't product market fit. Because we have people that are using it. So someone told me once a story, an advice. They said, you have product market fit when if you go into a place and there's 10 potential customers and you ask them, would you use my product? Each one of them has to say yes. Because some of them won't, some of them will come up with excuses, but every single one of them needs to say, I need this. And for us, we would go to moms and we'd be like, do you want to buy this? And a lot of people, probably 8 out of 10, would say, no, I don't really need this. And the other 2 said, yeah, I think this is a cool idea. Maybe I'll do it. So when you think about a new product, or you think about a new business, it's very important that you keep that in mind, and you don't look at the 2 out of 10 that say yes, but you look at the 8 out of 10 that say no, because you can't build a business or a product on like that small percentage of people. So, the idea of branch actually came out of this. We understood that the problem of getting an app and getting off the ground, it wasn't just our problem, but it's actually the problem of every app developer out there. And the 1,000th most popular app of all time has only 0.2% the adoption of the first. And there's 6,000 apps every month that are being submitted to the App Store. So the chances of a new app developer getting their app out there and getting it to be in the top is actually incredibly small. And this, when we put together this graph, this app Pixable actually ended up dying a few months later, so it's actually not around anymore. So the idea is that when you come up with an idea for something, you make sure that you actually think very carefully on whether is there a product market fit, is this an idea that actually works, and try it out. So Branch was our first idea. We failed 3 times because every single time we would try something new, we would look and be like, this is actually not working. And we had to make the hard decision to stop and to work on something new. Which gets me to the second one, which is set up numbers and goals and be very realistic about the results. So I think every failed rocket ship for us was a lesson, and we learned from it, and we became better as a team, we became better working together. But it also taught us that it's okay to fail. And I think this is one thing as we grew from 4 founders to 100 employees, we try to teach everyone and make it part of our culture. So every interview I have, I ask someone about the time they failed. And I'm looking for people that are comfortable with failure, because I see it every day in my employees. People become so attached to an initiative they have on marketing or in sales, and it's so hard to say, no, this is not working, I want to cut this. Because everything kind of works, but where do you draw the line? So it's important to set up metrics, and if something's not working, actually cut it. And an example is, if you think about websites, and websites used to be easy, so you can build marketplaces around it. So at Branch, we actually tried to build a marketplace around apps. We even raised a round with that idea in mind. We said, just like on websites, you can link to content from one website to another, we can build the same thing for apps, where you have content and you link from one app to another. So we pitched it, we raised our Series B around it. We worked 3 months on actually building a product. We had beta customers, and we saw that people just didn't want to adopt it. And we were convinced that this was going to work, but we had to look at the fact that some people adopted it, but when we were asking people, 9 out of 10 said, oh, I don't want to put links to other apps in my app. So, I remember even now, first board meeting after the B, we went and told our new investors, we're actually not going to do this because it's not working. And because we set up goals, and this new product does not fit those goals, so we're not going to do it. I know we wasted 3 months of development, but if we keep going with this, we're going to waste even more time. So we built something completely different that actually ended up working. So the third lesson is to build product by following insights from your customers. So branch, basically the idea was that apps are these lonely islands, and unlike websites, things are not easy. It's very hard to send information to the app, and this was our insight as founders. And our two main ways to get users were App Store and ads, and we're trying to build referrals. So the first time we built Branch, we actually built it as a referral platform, and we went to people's offices, and we actually built their whole referral systems with Branch. But as we listened to them and we were thinking, how can we go? Where should we go? What should we build next? People started asking us to use their links in email, and then we ended up building a deep linked email product that was actually our first paid product, and it's making really good money, and people really wanted. Same with social. We don't have, people want to use our links in social, so we're building a social product. People want to use deep links in search. So basically we had built kind of these links, and we built a linking platform, and then we built a referral program on top of the links. And then every other product after that, it was people coming and using those links for that product and asking us to make it easier for them. So then we just did, and then we turned into a product. So every product we built after that was never like us in a room thinking, what should we build next? But our customers coming to us and us working with them to implement something for them and then productizing it. And this is one of the examples. We built these banners. So people were using our links in banners, and it was really hard to build banners on your mobile website that takes someone to the app. And they were building it, and they would always ask our integration engineers, how do I do this better? So we're like, we should build a product that does that for them. And we did, and it's also one of our paid products that does really well. Number 4 is keep testing and keep building and keep trying everything, even if it's a really crazy idea. So I remember when we were raising money, I went to Greylock, and I got advice from this guy who said, you should build a community, and you should pick a space that's bigger than where you are and own it. So we're like, we're deep linking. No one knows what deep linking is. But what was the bigger thing that we were going after? Well, people trying to grow their apps. So I remember coming back, and we were like 5 people in the company or 6 people. And we're like, how can we own this space? So we're like, Mike, my co-founder and I were in the car, and we were trying to come up with ideas. I'm like, how about mobile growth? Everyone's trying to grow their app. Let's just build a brand around mobile growth and grow it. So damn, how can we, a few people in a room, this was our office, we had just moved in, build own mobile growth. So we're like, okay, let's start with the meetup. So we just put a meetup up on meetup.com. And we promoted. I went on every site where you can list an event, and I listed everywhere, bought some ads, asked every friend I had to come to this meetup. I think I got someone from Pinterest, who was a friend of a friend, to come and speak, and someone from Robinhood, who was a hot app, and I think they were in StarDex. And we just put on this meetup. And we went and called every pizza place and figure out which one has the cheapest pizza that day, which I think it was a Tuesday, and one of them had a sale on a Tuesday, and then we went to Safeway and bought beer and drinks, and Mike and I carried all of that in because our engineers were working, so we didn't ask for their help. And then we just did it. And it's amazing that you think it's hard, but it's not. You just do it and people come. And what was really interesting is it was super successful. People started using us after it, and we started doing them all the time. And then I hired someone 7 months later to do them, and then she started doing them all over the world. And it just kept growing. So this is us today. This is a year and a half later. We have 22,000 members with 53 meetups. We just started with us going to Safeway and buying food and drinks and just putting something on meetup.com. We now never pay for them. We have a list of people who want to sponsor them. And it's one of the best ways that we actually like own the market. And there's a hashtag mobile growth that references us. When people say mobile growth, they're like, oh, branch. So we were able to do this, and it was just a test. And we just kind of iterated and kept going, and it worked really well. And we learned from it and we started doing more events. So this is, the events team at Branch is 2.5 people, and we did 230 events last year. So it's possible. Each one of you can do it. And there's no better way to go after businesses than actually doing events. And lastly, I think the most important thing that we found in scaling has been culture. And this is something I think everyone talks about. Culture, company culture, how important it is. We came up with our values when we were 4 people in a room in our incubator. And we change them every year. We meet and we're like, evolve them. They haven't changed, they're the same, they have evolved. I don't actually have what each of them are, but we start with partners first. We have initiative, transparency, ownership, data-driven decisions, urgency, and humility is one of them. And what's really interesting, we don't just put them on a wall. We actually have a grid. And we have, for each value, this is what it means to be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And every person gets ranked by their manager and by their peers on each of the values. And if you are doing very low on a value, we have like let go of people because they're just not a culture fit and because they rank very low on our values. So when you scale and when you grow from 4 to 100 in 2 years, it's actually really hard. How do you maintain? How do you have the same kind of intensity that we have with 4 people with 100 people? And this has been one of the best ways that has helped us grow, and I highly recommend it for any company. And that's it. I know that drinks are next. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So I do have a question.
Sure.
230 events in 2016.
Yeah.
How are you organized to do that? I mean, how do you guys handle that internally?
Yeah, I think, so those are events that we sponsored, spoke at, or organized.
Right.
Our events, the person, our director of events, has definitely grown a lot. So we were organized, we have basically a meetup team, a person who just does meetups, a person who just does conferences, and then other people help. So, I go and help out sometimes, and I speak at a lot of things, and so do my other co-founders. But we have like this event thing where it's a checklist, you go through everything, and we have like a playbook for meetups. We know exactly what works. It's usually a panel with 3 people. Our meetups in SF, it's actually the largest mobile marketing group in the world. And on average, we have 150 people at every meetup. And we just know we need 3 panelists, each from an app, 1 a customer, 1 a potential customer, and 1 someone from a cool app. Because the smaller apps have more interesting insights, large apps draw a crowd. So we have it all, like we have a list of potential people sponsoring it. So it's kind of like a machine. And it's the same with events. With large events that we think about sponsoring, we kind of go through a list, we decide what we're going to do. We assemble a team. It's very much, yeah, it's a little bit like a machine. I think out of those 230, probably, I think 35 were things we sponsored, 140 were meetups. And we do a lot of meetups internationally that are organized by ambassadors, but we find the speakers and we do the promotion. But we have someone else, like a part-time person on the ground who helps. We haven't gone to all of them, but we've gone to probably 2/3 out of them.